Welcome back, beautiful souls. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I talk about mindset a lot. And mindset is the backbone of how we approach our goals, how we overcome challenges, and see our own potential. But while mindset is crucial, it is just the beginning. Today, we'll look at the difference between mindset and self-leadership and why both are essential in creating the life that you want. Let's kick this off with a question. When you think of a leader, who comes to mind? Is it a CEO, a teacher, or maybe a historical figure or a religious instructor? These are all valid examples of leaders. But here's the thing. True leadership starts long before anyone is watching. It begins with the decisions you make in private, the habits that you build, and the self-talk that you practice every day. Some years ago, I had this pivotal moment when I realized that I was handling life and I was going through the motions, but that wasn't enough. I wanted to thrive. I wanted to be alive and feel fueled in life. And so I started exploring mindset to embrace growth and resilience, to learn how to love myself through things rather than judge myself. And this shift was powerful, but it was only powerful when I began to apply that mindset with the action. And that's where true transformation happens, in taking action. Research shows that self-leadership strengthens resilience and emotional intelligence, and it helps you better manage your stress and build your confidence. There's even studies from Harvard that show that leaders with strong self-awareness and self-regulation tend to be more effective. Think about it as putting your own oxygen mask on first, and then you can help others. But if you are depleted and you are running out of oxygen, or another analogy, if you've got your cup that you've poured into everyone else and you are running on empty, it is very difficult to be an effective leader when you are not first taking care of you, because you are part of the community too. You're part of the very community you are striving to build. So what is the difference between mindset and leadership? Mindset is how we view ourselves and the world. You may have heard the terms growth mindset versus fixed mindset. A growth mindset tells us that we can improve with effort. And a fixed mindset is one that holds us back. It says, I was born with what I'm born with and I'm stuck with I got what I got type thing. But self-leadership, however, is putting those new practices into action. And it's setting intentions, it's creating goals, and taking accountability for your progress. It's about applying your mindset in ways that guide you to where you want to go. Now, you can think of it this way. Mindset is like a compass, and self-leadership is like the path that you choose and the steps you take in order to reach your destination. They're a team. You need both for success. Let's talk about 3 practical ways that you can build self-leadership right now. First, check in with your inner dialogue. We all have that inner voice, and often it can be more of a critic than a coach. So the next time you catch yourself in this negative thought loop, pause and choose to replace it with something constructive. So imagine how transformative it would be to have a mental coach cheering you on rather than criticizing your every move. A lot of people don't realize this, but you have more control over your thoughts than you think you do. And you don't have to believe all the thoughts that come to mind. When that inner critic is there tearing you down, you can say, oh, you know what, inner critic, even give it a name. You know what? Cruella, I'm not going to listen to you today. That is not true what you're saying. And then you can choose to cheer yourself on. Now, the second tip is to set small, achievable goals. You've probably heard that many times. They say set SMART goals. And in one of my past episodes on motivation, the Motivation Mirage, I talk about how taking small intentional actions fuel your motivation. So self-leadership doesn't mean that you have to change everything all at once. It's about taking small intentional steps. And these steps may be as simple as drinking more water each day and setting aside 10 minutes for quiet reflection. It can be just super simple. And with each win, with each personal commitment that you keep, it builds that momentum and it helps you develop self-trust. When you trust yourself, then you are able to show up with confidence and build trust with others. But when you don't trust yourself, that can derail any type of leadership position that you have. But people can see that confidence. They can see that you trust yourself, and so they're more likely to trust you, which then helps you show up more confident in every aspect of your life. And with each small win, you're building that trust and discipline that will support you through bigger challenges. The third tip is to embrace routine with purpose. Now, if you're like me and you love variety, I do not like doing the same thing every day. It kind of drives me nuts. The thought of having a routine feels like a ball and chain. However, what I have found is by having a simple morning routine that gets me up. Here's my simple morning routine. I get up and I drink a little bit of salt water, just a little bit of salt. It doesn't have to be salty water, a little bit of salt water to get some electrolytes going in my body. And I go for a 10-minute walk. This is not my exercise for the day. This is my getting out in the sunlight in the morning, because that affects your hormones and your sleep cycle, everything in your body. So morning sunlight is very important, and you can go and dive into that, do your research on your own on that, but I found that's important. Then I do my prayers and scripture study, get dressed. But that simple routine in the morning, at first it was super hard to get started. But what I found is that now I get up and I just go. I get up and go. Instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I got to go for a walk. I have so many things to do, blah, 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 blah. Don't get in your head. Remember that self-critic will talk you out of everything. Just pause and focus on the one small step right in front of you. Put in a basic routine with purpose. It doesn't have to be boring. It can be a powerful anchor. And studies show that having a routine can lower your stress and improve productivity. And starting your day with a few minutes of focused time, whether it's journaling or going for a walk, stretching, mindfully drinking your liquids that help you stay hydrated, this sets your tone for intentionality for the rest of the day. And this is part of self-leadership. Now, to wrap up, remember this: self-leadership is the cornerstone of everything you want to be and do. Mindset opens the door, but self-leadership is what walks you through it. It's not about perfection. It's about committing and showing up for yourself, learning and growing. If this resonates with you, there's a couple resources that you can check out. You can go check out my book on Amazon called Perspectives, Change Your Lens, Change Your Life. And you can also join us at the Empower You event, where we would dive deeper into self-leadership and equip you with the tools to build the life you envision.